Welcome to the Changing of the Seasons podcast, where we explore the many shades and seasons of life, from the heart-pounding thrill of adventure to the peaceful pursuit of wellness. We're your hosts, Maya, Leah, and Mila, and together we'll journey through the different phases of life, one conversation at a time.
Whether it's love, relationships, personal growth, or the quest for meaning, we'll dive into the stories, the lessons, and the insights that make us who we are. Each episode, we'll chat through the lenses of 3 separate generations, navigating the winding roads of life, exploring what it truly means to live fully in every season.
So, if you're seeking adventure, wellness tips, heartfelt stories, or just a little wisdom to light your way, you're in the right place. Life is messy, beautiful, and everything in between. And here, we celebrate it all. Let's get started.
This week, we will continue our conversation about transitioning to adulthood. If you missed the first part of this conversation, please check out the previous episode.
Maya, what advice would you give to someone struggling to resolve conflicts maturely?
I don't think that there's any specific way to resolve a conflict. I think that people need to figure out what works best for them when resolving conflicts, whether it be to talk it out or to walk away from the situation and come back later. But the best advice I could give is to figure out what you need.
Okay, so focus first on your needs, and we'll go from there. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right, what you got, Antoine?
Does the result provide anything to your life? Now, is this a conflict? Is it an inner conflict? Is it a conflict with a friend? Or is this somebody that you really don't care if you see again or not? It depends on if it's something that you need to reconcile within yourself or a friend. If that matters, if it's situational, it depends on the situation. Because sometimes I was ready for you to leave my life when you walked in.
You got spicy all of a
I
sudden.
did. In the last, look, my phone on 10%, and here I go.
Oh, Lord.
I'd be like, who are these people?
That filter, it started like at 50%. We probably at about 22% right now.
But no, I mean, sometimes I always think of this one thing. It's a meme where somebody's holding on to a rope, and you can hold on to the rope so tight where it's like hurting your hand, but as soon as you let it go, it's released. And like you pain free. So that's how I think about a lot of conflict. Like, am I holding on to this rope too tight? Or is it time for me just to let it go?
Okay then. What you got, Bia?
What's the conflict? I mean, it all depends because I'm like this. Whenever they come up there and say, I feel some kind of way, I'm like, so help me understand what the conflict is so I can either get on your level so we can talk ourselves down. Because if you're coming to me, that means we need help to try to diffuse the situation, or are we going to blow this situation up? Or so I can help you say, you making something out of nothing. This is not a conflict. You just should have just shake it off. They just said something that you would have said too. They just beat you to the punch. But first, right, what's the conflict? Because I'm not jumping. I'm a conflict diffuser. Because if I feel any kind of way, I just cut them off. But I try not to lead other people that way. You know, I try to guide them the right way.
I like it. Sound like we're all kind of like, you can argue with yourself.
Right.
That's what it sounds like. Because I'm thinking, like, first of all,
you live over there.
Right. Was that okay from that boss situation?
Yes.
That's my favorite reference.
Hey.
Right.
Yeah, because
exactly
I'm
That's how we learn how to
like,
resolve conflict.
yeah, essentially. Because,
Real
I
time.
mean, you gotta think, like, is this a real or is this a made-up conflict? You know, because we
Right.
see people all the time who are just so used to conflict, toxicity, they can make a
Right.
conflict out of anything, like it's a
Right.
skill,
Right.
you know? And so, like you were saying, you could be beefing with somebody who cut you off in traffic. You get up next to them, realize they've been texting on their phone. You beefing with somebody that don't even know, like, you beefing with them.
Right.
So you always got to take a moment, like, is this a real conflict or did I make this up? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't make
But
up my 30-year beef.
yeah, you
That
did.
did not
Oh,
make I didn't
it's
make it
been
up.
all love for me. Like, oh,
I've been
Jay
fighting my
doing all
whole
this stuff in
life.
the community. That's my play cousin, you know. So here you go. Whole time you got that look on your face that Joe got when you won't get him food. So
Oh, look, Joe
Every
locked in.
time. Look, I'm always sharing your stuff too, but no. As soon as she come down, she better not call.
stop it. Stop it. You know you come if I went to a garage sale and found a whole Guitar Hero setup, I bet you will be there.
You
Okay.
ain't even gotta do that part. All you gotta do is start making some cupcakes. Hey.
Okay. But how do you approach taking responsibility for mistakes or failures, Bia?
Oh, I own it. Hey, if it's my fault, I own it. I own it and say, look, it was me. I dropped the ball on this. I will not make that mistake again. If I do, I must have been asleep. But I own my mistakes and my faults. So we can move on and try to fix whatever happened or we can address it and we can go ahead and talk it out. But I'm not running. If I made a mistake, I'm going to own it.
Okay. What about you, Antoine?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
How do you approach taking responsibility for mistakes or failures?
Oh, yeah, I love taking responsibility. Only reason why is because it's a learning lesson.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm over here, I'm not asking advice. I'm like, oh no, I got it handled. And as soon as the response come back, I'm like, ooh, I could have done something a different way. You know what? My bad. I apologize. But no, I like taking responsibility. I always find something that I could have improved or use that to give advice to someone else.
Okay. Like it. Yeah. Maya, every time I look at this question, I just think about your daddy. When I was home for Thanksgiving talking about that chocolate. When you play DJ for that chocolate. Oh. Oh. How do you approach taking responsibility for mistakes or failures?
Well,
Now.
now, I like to think that, well, honestly, this has been pretty consistent throughout my whole life, even with the chocolate situation. It might take a little bit for me to like take responsibility. Somebody might have to talk about it for, a little bit before I actually realize that I'm in the wrong. But I like to think that whenever I do realize that I've done something wrong, I take responsibility for it. I just apologize and I try to be better about it.
Okay. I'm going to bring the inner child up because, I think about some people that I know who are just habitual liars. And, it makes me think, like, were you a child that got whoopings? Because if you were, you may be somebody who, from getting whoopings, learned how to lie. Because you're like, I don't want to get whooping. Let me just make up a lie so I ain't got to get in trouble. And I think that sometimes follows people into adulthood. And sometimes you just have to teach yourself that it is okay to take accountability for your actions. Your daddy and your mommy aren't about to whoop you. So you take that hit on the chin, own up to it, and work out a way to move forward.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So, what role does humility play in mental and emotional growth?
I mean, humility keeps you growing. Like, we've been
Right.
humble this whole time, talking about we still ain't at the mark, so humility is what reminds you that there is still room for improvement.
Kendrick Lamar, stay humble.
All right?
Sit down.
I'm going to a concert. I was just telling JJ that me and I are both going to one of his concerts. Listen,
Are you
that's
going to the
okay.
Super Bowl? Y'all going to that?
No, too many people.
It's in New Orleans.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of people.
Wait, who's playing in the Super Bowl?
I don't know the football teams, but Kendrick Lamar is performing at halftime.
I didn't know that. Wait, why is it in New Orleans? I thought that they don't play where one of the teams is from? No?
No.
Not Super Bowls.
Oh.
Not football. Basketball is whoever the two teams are they play in both places.
Wow. Weird.
So it's a different city every year.
Okay. Um, why do you think some people resist accountability, and how can they overcome that?
I wish. I wish I knew how to get them to be accountable. Can one of y'all answer that? Help me.
I mean, it's just like I was just saying, honestly, because some of that might just be misplaced fear. Like
Yeah,
fear from when you were a kid. You just get into that habit of never taking accountability because you fear what's going to happen if you do. Just accepting the fact that you are not a kid anymore. Own up and just move on.
and embarrassed, or saying that you know what, maybe I didn't know it all. That I wasn't the best.
Uh,
It wasn't my fault. It was your fault. Uh, I don't know. Like I said, I love owning up to my mistakes. Like, you know what? I did my best. I really didn't. I waited until the last minute. I turned it.
Last
If they
minute.
that paper was due at 11:59, I started working on it at 11:50. All right, I got the grade I
Right.
deserved. But
Right.
that's that. I mean, I think that's why we are so humble and able to talk to so many people. Is because we accept humility. We know that we are the best at the areas that we can be in. However, we're not the best in all areas. So if we can learn from somebody, we definitely learn from someone. And if somebody can come and
Right.
correct my mistake without making me feel like I'm a dummy about it, thank you. I've learned it and I can move on. But somebody else that they like maturity. Uh, they like so much in a lot of areas that it's not for one person to help heal. They got to decide to go on their journey on their own.
Um, do you think that society places enough emphasis on emotional maturity? Why or why not?
No. And I think it's based
that's
on
it.
social media. I thought somebody else was gonna agree with me. I
I
gave a
mean, you
pregnant
hit
pause.
that
Now,
no
let me
so
go and
hard.
finish.
I was
Yeah, you
So,
like,
right.
yeah, I think it's social media because people show, they always show the good side of things. They don't show how they work to get to a spot, or their one area in their house is that's the clean area. That's why everybody takes pictures in this one spot. I don't think that social media shows how someone gets to one point to another. Um, and in that race of let me see how my life can look like theirs, they're struggling. They live check to check. They are misplacing bills and just buying stuff to buy it versus going through the whole thing of saving money to buy something that they see in others. They just want to rush to get it.
yeah, the piggyback. Ooh, I cringe sometimes when I look at somebody make a post and it may be a very innocent post and you look at the comments and people are just tearing them up, and that just kind of speaks to the way that people are lacking that empathy when it comes to how they deal with strangers over the internet. So I would agree. I think social media does play a big part in our lack of emotional maturity.
Yeah.
um, yes.
Yes.
Yep. um, no, I agree. Social media does play a big part, and like the people that are allowed to not take accountability and to act like adult babies are encouraged because they have followers, and people encourage that type of mentality and those acts. So it's like you just keep fostering it, and everybody's like, "Oh, if they act like that, and look at what they got, I'm gonna act like that too." So yeah, it's yeah, it's a terrible cycle.
I agree. And I think it also doesn't help that, like, cancel culture is a thing, but nobody really sticks to it. Like, there's a bunch of people who are supposed to be canceled and they're still just as famous as they were before. So it's like there's not really any accountability for anybody that does anything wrong. Yeah. Um, how do cultural or societal norms influence how people view or develop maturity?
Well, I think we are still heavily healing from a lot of huge traumas from many generations before us. And that endless cycle of hurt has to be healed by somebody in the line, because if somebody does not heal their trauma, essentially they're just going to transfer it. All right. Because things that our parents maybe traumatized us with, their parents probably did the same thing to them. So at some point, somebody's got to stop it. So I think when it comes to some like generations or some like people who are traumatized, they may end up emotionally stunted simply because of the experiences that they were brought up in or the environment that they come from. But they have to recognize it and take accountability and like fix it.
I agree. Answers the question perfectly.
Appreciate that.
That was a really good answer. I don't even have nothing to add nor take away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, we moving on. It's
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you did it. That was
Okay.
it.
Okay.
I mean, because it is what it is. It's like somebody got to fix it.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you like it? No. Well, why are you still doing the same thing?
Right. Why are we
Right,
still
I
doing
know.
this? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was like, that's what we always did.
Right. That's what kills me. Even like when it comes to, because I think about the organization I'm a part of right now. When it comes to tradition, like sometimes you'll find those leaders who'll be like, well, I had to do it, so you need to do it too. It's like, no, like if you're in the position of leadership, you need to stop that habit or tradition and make it better. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
No,
Jay.
one saying that I like is today's solution may be tomorrow's problem. Now it may have had a purpose back in the day, but today it don't. Switch it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
One thing about the healing journey is that it never ends. You know, you still experience moments that shake you up, but it's about the process of navigating the storms that highlights just how healed you truly are. You know, being clear headed and clear hearted helps you to be prepared for all that life will throw your way. So let's jump right in and talk about what it means to prioritize yourself.
So, how would you interpret the metaphor of putting on your oxygen mask first? And why do you think it's important to prioritize your own well-being before helping others?
I'm going to match a metaphor with another metaphor and
Do it.
say you can't pour from an empty cup. You know, if I'm operating at 5%, I really don't have much to give. But, you know, once I recognize that I need to do something about it, I need to get my 5% to 10%, my 10% to 50%. Like that one Jay-Z song, he was like, turn that 62 to 125, that's 125 to 250. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
What song is that?
Ooh, do your homework.
What's it called?
Do your homework.
Oh,
So the next episode, when we're wrapping things up from this episode, I need you to let me know what song that was.
wait, say it again.
That's 62 to 125, 125 to 250. 250 to a
250
half
to a half a
mil.
mil. Ain't nothing nobody can do with me.
Not taking notes.
She had us taking notes with that Jersey Beats and that yeet.
Right.
So, you know, it's her turn.
Yeah. Then she had to get me talking about, oh, you spell yeet wrong. How am I supposed to know how to spell yeet?
Hold up. How you spell yeet? That's
I
the
think-
real question.
I think I put it like neat, like V.
No, you put
Okay.
Y-E-T.
Okay.
I ain't put two E's.
No, you put Y-E-T. That's yet.
Yeah, oh, my bad. I thought I put two E's. My bad.
It's yet to come.
Oops.
She was sleepy.
Okay. Okay. I know next time we record, I'm going to have some coffee right here. I'm going to stop drinking water. Oh, that doggone. Okay, yet.
Yeah. You did your best.
I did. But she knew what I meant because she saw my notes and she was like, is this yeet? I was like, yeah.
You just had to put the line over the E. That would have made it sound
Oh,
right.
you're right.
You know.
You're right.
Yeah.
All right. Baby Jake. Oh, did I call you that?
Yeah,
I
it's
wasn't
out
going to
there
use
now.
your private name. I'm sorry.
What's your code name?
Oh, I've been doing so good though.
You did. This might be my last question. I'm at 6%. It's going.
Oh, you ain't made no progress.
I ain't making
None.
I'm just holding on.
Okay. All right. So, how would you interpret the metaphor of putting on your oxygen mask first? And why do you think it is so important to prioritize your own well being before helping others?
This is definitely something that I'm currently working on. I do not always put my oxygen mask on first. In fact, I think I perfected holding my breath as long as possible. Dealing with a 6-year old that uh, I always thought it was my responsibility, so I never really accepted help until basically these last 2 years. So I was always on the go. I always went to work, always made sure that she was taken care of without asking anybody help. I think I asked to be help for maybe 2 days, one day. I think, and that was early on before she could get in school. And after that, I kind of just waited until I fell apart. But now I am accepting help and taking those mental health days where I just don't do anything. I don't answer the phone calls. I doom scroll. I don't do anything productive because I just need to give myself a healthy mental break. I actually go on real vacations instead of like those 2 days off. I'm like, hey, let me go to New Orleans for a little bit and come right back. No, I actually take off 5 to 7 days and relax. So it's something that I'm continuing to work on. But I think this whole topic of today's podcast is something that we will continuously work on throughout the rest of our life is making sure we do those check-ins with ourselves of, hey, do you have your mask on? While I'm over here saving 15 people on the plane, who's there to save you? Um, so it's something that I'm working on.
Can I circle back real quick? What's a doom scroll?
Where you just get on like social media and just scroll, you're really not paying attention. I just
Oh,
found
okay.
that out today when they took it away. And that's what I do.
Oh, okay.
I just be looking. I do a quick giggle. That's almost funny, and keep on going.
It's almost funny.
If I would have waited 2 more seconds and actually looked at this video, I probably would have enjoyed it.
Okay. Okay, doom scroll.
The sun is going down. Go home.
Oh, wow.
I'm in my uncle mode. Yeah, it's cold. Y'all barely got a jacket on. Go inside.
Okay. All right. So, Maya, how would you interpret the metaphor of putting on your oxygen mask first? And why you think it's important to prioritize your own well-being before helping others?
I really just like Aunt Mila's metaphor. You know, you can't pour from an empty cup. Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that because, yeah, if you're not in the best state, then how are you going to help somebody else get in the best state? That's why, like, therapists, you know, they go to therapists too because, you know, it's hard to help somebody if you're not the best.
And I agree. How you going to help somebody else when you're not right? What do healthy boundaries look like and why are they essential for emotional well-being? Maya.
I think healthy boundaries don't look any specific way. Depends on, you know, the people in the relationship, and they're essential because, you know, like everybody has different upcomings. So it's like if something, like what Aunt Bia said, triggering, like some things may trigger some people. So it's good to like set those boundaries so you know what to say, what you can and can't say, or what you can and can't do.
All right. And Mila?
I think a healthy boundary is like being able to choose your battles, learning when to not take things personal, not texting back if your emotional battery is low, not ignoring your intuition. That's what healthy boundaries looks like in my current life.
All right. All right. And Jake?
My healthy boundary is respecting my own boundaries. Sometimes I can set boundaries for other people. I don't even respect my own boundary. I'll be like, hey, don't talk to me on Tuesdays, and I wake up Tuesday morning texting you first. I gotta respect what I need to put in place for my own self. I can't expect for you to respect them if I don't respect my own boundaries.
Okay. Well, I know your battery about to die, so I'm going to go ahead and let that be your last question. But thank you for joining our podcast, and I know you will be back on.
Yeah,
And
I
season
appreciate
2
it.
for the update.
I will be
All
back
right.
season 2 for the look. I already got the topic, empathy.
Empathy. Okay.
There we go. A peek in the future.
Right.
That'll be a
Your
3-part episode.
Not a 3-part. Your inner child is begging for it right now.
Yeah, the child need a hug and a forehead kiss. But for now, we're going to keep pressing forward. Thank y'all for allowing me this platform. And yeah, this was a really good conversation.
Yeah, we appreciate it, like genuinely. Yeah, it's always cool to take those moments to reflect on, because what we was hanging out back when we was like super young, seeing
Yeah.
each other grow up now, like it's pretty cool to reflect on. So
Yeah,
I
it's really good.
appreciated the catch up. So.
It was. And then seeing Maya over here look like a whole teenager, and I could still picture her catching bugs. And like, girl, why is this on the refrigerator? why, why, why is it still here?
We had to bag it up and look it up.
Thank you. No, I appreciate all of this, and always thankful to Bia for teaching us how to eat in restaurants and talk to people. Everything that I'm doing now. Well, I will
Okay.
catch y'all back in season 2.
All right, we back. Thank y'all for allowing my brother-in-law to join us. I got another question. What does protecting your peace mean to you? And why is it important in today's fast-paced world?
I'm really back into mindfulness, right?
Mhm.
I feel like protecting your peace, like you have to be mindful. You can't be operating on autopilot, because we've all been there where we're like, how did I even get to work today? Like, just life is just passing you on. And in that time, while you're on autopilot, things are happening and you're not really processing what's going on around you. And the next thing you know, you feel like you're suffocating because there's so much buildup of craziness that may feel too overwhelming to sift through. So that's why you kind of have to just operate mindfully, where you're always paying attention to what's going on around you so that you know like what to protect yourself from, so that you can like stay in peace.
All right.
I think that I think that you need to just know what works for you, I guess. If in this world, social media, we see all these things and we know all these people, and everybody doesn't react the same way to every situation. Everybody doesn't find joy in everything. So it's like knowing what you like and not letting anybody tell you otherwise. So if you don't like going to parties and somebody's like, come to this party with me, and you're like, no, I don't really like to party, and they're like, oh, you're gonna like this one, just know that, like, I mean, I'm not saying that maybe you shouldn't try it one time, but if you've gone and you know for a fact that you don't like it, don't let anybody tell you that you should like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, knowing what you like, knowing what you don't like, if that's protecting your peace. Because especially you were growing up way different than I grew up. We didn't have all of that social media. All I had was a regular cordless phone in the wall. So
That
we
was
had
fancy.
no social media. Yeah, we were fancy. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we had moved on from the rotary dial.
Mhm.
I was so fast on the rotary dial. You don't even know what a rotary dial is. I'm like,
I know what a rotary dial is.
oh, okay. But
You remember them indestructible Nokias?
oh, big
Remember
block
when you had bought
Nokias?
that one, and then
Mhm.
like you could change out the case,
Mhm.
and you had bought like the clear one where it had the lights underneath it?
Mhm.
Oh man, we
Yeah.
thought we was doing something then with them
Okay.
polyphonic tones and the callbacks.
Yes. We had the Mario. We had everything.
That was wild.
You
Like
know,
that was a wild time.
Speaking of phones, something I don't know what type of phones y'all had when y'all were in school, but like for my generation, the thing like was part of the reason people don't like Androids now is like, you know how the back used to come off and there was a battery in there? So
Right.
like in school, people drop the phone and the battery falls out. That's like one of the most embarrassing moments possible. And people talk about that a lot to this day. Did y'all have battery phones in school? Oh, you did?
Battery phones, talking about like what you're talking about with a battery pop out? Yeah.
Oh.
Because I always kept an extra battery. That's why I
Wait,
didn't
how
have
do
to
you
work.
charge it? It charges like a normal phone, right?
Yeah. But then I
Okay.
had a charger that would charge the spare battery.
Mm.
So I always had 2 batteries.
Oh.
Yeah, so while those iPhone people were running around there because theirs was welded in and they had to charge, I just popped my battery out, popped the 100% back in, and I was ready to go.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because I feel like Apple phones kind of has a reputation for cracking a lot. So
Yeah?
it's like, I'd rather have my battery pop out than my phone screen crack, and I'm over here now. I got glass shards in my finger because I'm trying to doom scroll. You know? Yeah.
Doom scroll. I will be using it.
I doom scroll all the time, every day.
Yeah. Because you were depressed yesterday.
Yeah, because TikTok was gone. And it
Yeah.
wasn't even 12 o'clock yet.
Hey, they said
That's
flip the
crazy.
switch. Why wait?
That's
Was
wild.
it 12 o'clock in China?
I don't know. It was like 9:43 here.
Just saying.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
So, guys, how do you manage external stressors such as work, social media, or toxic relationships while protecting your inner peace?
I don't engage. I normally disconnect. When things get too heavy, I start getting real ignorant to everything that's going on around me because I do feel like ignorance is bliss. So if the external stresses are doing too much, like if work has become way too toxic, I don't clock into what's going on around me. I come, I do my job, do what's required of me, and go home. So I just don't engage until I have the energy to do so. And even if I have the energy, I may still not engage.
Yeah, I shut it down too. I don't engage. I just keep to myself. If it's at work, I handle it and move on. If I gotta address it, I address it. Then I move on, but I don't engage because I do like my peace. And I like to protect my inner peace.
For me, I think I definitely have a problem with protecting my inner peace because I am a people pleaser a little bit. So whenever there are external, except for school, at school, I just like walk away from it. I'm great at procrastinating my schoolwork, but like social media and toxic relationships, for social media, it's especially hard since I've grown up with it. Not like I didn't have a phone until like a reasonable age, 13, I think. No, I was 12. It was before that. I think I was in the 6th grade when I got a phone, but I couldn't get on social media until I turned 13, which was the 7th grade. But yeah, like even though I didn't
You
get until I was
cried and
13 years
cried.
old.
Oh, you begged and pleaded. Everybody got Facebook. Oh, why I can't have Facebook? Oh, I'm more responsible than everybody else. Why can't I have it?
Everybody in my grade had a phone and everybody in my grade had Snapchat, and here I was not being able to talk to anybody.
And then we had to get out. That's why I had to get Snapchat, because your daddy was like, well, if she gets it, then y'all got to get on it because y'all got to monitor her stuff. I was like, wow. Why can't
Hold up. Can you post on Snapchat to certain people or like block? Have you been blocking us all these years? Because I don't ever see you post on Snapchat.
No, I don't post. I don't post
remember she used to-
anything. I used to post, but then
Because she used to have streaks. Remember she used to draw the S on the thing in Snapchat? I don't remember ever seeing that either.
okay, guys.
probably had us
I don't
blocked.
I don't post anymore because I was posting. I realized that I was posting for other people and not myself, and so I was like, "There's no point in me posting. I'll look at other people's stuff, but I don't post. I really don't post on Snapchat. The last time I posted on Snapchat, yeah, the last time I posted on Snapchat was when I signed. But you can actually block people. No, you can't block people. You can have private stories. So you just post something on your private story, and whoever's not in your private story, you can't see it. But yeah, growing up in a world full of social media, even though I didn't have social media until I was 13, I was still around people with social media. It's hard to just walk away from that. There's a lot of people who, in my generation, who will just delete social media whenever it's becoming a problem. But I can't really do that. Like people who I've heard people say, "Oh, I was on TikTok too much, so I deleted it." I can't do it. I mean, that one day that I didn't have TikTok was a struggle, and it wasn't even a day. It wasn't even a full 24 hours, but it was a struggle because I'm so used to having it. So it's hard for me to walk away from stuff like that. And toxic relationships, it's hard for me to walk away from those too. They have to walk out of my life because I don't really ever push people away. It's a problem. Yeah, I don't really ever push people away. I just let them keep doing what they're doing, even if it's not beneficial to me. Yeah.
We'll work on that.
So, how can someone tell the difference between when they need to engage with the conflict and when it's healthier to walk away?
Go ahead, Mila.
I'm not trying to sound snarky when I say this, but everyone is not going to be at your emotional and mental maturity level. So if I know I'm talking to somebody who's like broken, closed minded, disorganized, hot headed, somebody that's always playing the victim, I know whatever I say to them, they probably aren't hearing me. So they probably don't even currently possess the skills to even hear me out or communicate with me. And so I think sometimes you have to know, like, this is somebody that just needs to argue with themselves, and clearly they in their feelings right now, and you want to talk to me at some point, you talk to me once you get your feelings figured out, and you just leave it at that. I'm really not a type of person that needs to have the last word. Like, I know my audience.
I definitely don't feel bad about letting somebody else have the last word. If they feel like that's what helps them win, then you won.
Right.
I'll tell you, I'm like, you won. You good. And we really don't have to talk anymore. But
Yeah.
and that would help me with my piece too, because now I don't feel obligated to have to engage with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, once again, I'm not good with that. Walking away from conflicts, I'm not good with that, because I feel like a big part of who I am conflict wise is like, I don't know, I always feel like I have this need for closure, and I know that you can't always get closure in every argument, because some people aren't just, it's just not always going to work like that. But still, even when I don't have it, it's just hard for me to move on, for me to walk away.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay.
What advice would you give someone who feels overwhelmed by the idea of healing, and where should they start?
I mean, if you spent your whole adult life feeling broken, go love on that inner child in you. I would start with childhood. I think you just got to take the time to unpack your baggage one piece at a time. And then I think you need to find something to lock onto that's going to keep you going, whether it's a person, whether it's going to therapy, whether it's setting a goal, whether it's, having a journal, following a book, a podcast like this one. Cling to that one thing that's gonna keep you on track. But like, it's a big journey, because you're always finding things you need to heal from. Like, once you heal to a certain extent, you're gonna experience something else that you need to heal from. So it's a never ending cycle of healing. So you just kind of got to start with probably like where the bulk of your trauma is, and go from there.
Right. I think like you said, just having a starting place, being able to identify that was a trauma, or that's where I felt overwhelmed, or hopefully they didn't block it out. And then hopefully they were blessed with siblings, because if it did start in childhood, then maybe you can reach out to your sibling and say, hey, is this how you felt? Well, what about you? And then both y'all can bounce off each other and heal together, because a lot of times that's a good starting point. And I know a lot of times that's how all five of us, we always talk and bond and stuff, because we always be like, did y'all do that? Did y'all have that? Or whatever, especially because we have all the age gaps. And it was like, oh, okay. So we weren't the only ones that experienced that. But that was a good starting point for us, especially when y'all got older, and we can all just talk about it, because y'all moved out and y'all can go back and reflect on things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I learned a lot of my lessons from TV and stuff, but this reminds me of Dexter. Y'all know Dexter, the show?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dexter's Laboratory? That Dexter?
No.
Oh, the movie about the real Dexter? I was talking about you talking about the killer Dexter?
Yes, the killer Dexter.
Oh, okay, my bad.
And this is a spoiler, but
no.
basically he went through something traumatic in his childhood, which is why he ended up the way that he was. And when people go through things that are traumatic, they block them out. Like they completely get rid of it. And it wasn't until he started processing what happened to him in his childhood that he started to start his journey to healing. And Dexter, he definitely was afraid to process that emotion. So I think it's just, figuring out, where it all started, the root of everything, and then moving from there.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, it was a good talk. So just to kind of recap, I feel like when you live so far in your truth, it's really hard for people to disrupt your truth. Like, I feel like I know me better than anyone could possibly know me. So someone attempting to call me something other than what I am doesn't really hurt me. I think when I began to view people simply as humans with a story that I probably know nothing of, I feel as though I'm looking at a clearly hurting individual who is probably carrying a lot of trauma. They may be very sad. They may have inherited toxic traits or behaviors from other places, maybe their friends, maybe their family. And hurt people hurt people. You know, it's a cycle. And when you elevate your thinking, you elevate your life. So sometimes you have to remain disconnected from the energies around you and simply protect your peace, because peace comes from within. Like, no one is going to hand it to you in a box wrapped in a bow. You know, you got to protect your peace, and remember, you do not have to accept or return anyone's energy. Never allow your character to be a reflection of someone else's, and keep growing. No matter how grown you think you are, keep growing.
This week, we encourage you to connect with your inner child. A book that I would suggest adding to your reading list that touches on what it means to reparent yourself is
I got you. I was here. I was your Vanna. Okay. How to do the work. Yes.
by Dr. Nicole LaPera, also known as the holistic psychologist. Keep working on healing yourself, and you'll in turn help to heal the generations that will come after you.
That's a wrap, y'all.
Wait, real quick.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I want to touch on something that I said last time when we were talking about what superhero power we would want. And I went from, first I said Darwin's power, and then I said Quicksilver, whatever his power is. That is not what I meant. Now I'm realizing that doesn't sound right. I don't sound like I know what I'm talking about, because Quicksilver's power is obviously speed. I meant Silver Surfer. I don't know what his power is. I want that power. I think it's like cosmic energy or something.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
Look at you. That's that accountability right there, ain't it? Oh, she said I had a mistake. Let me fix it. That was cute. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's a wrap. Thank y'all for listening to our show. See y'all later.
Bye, y'all.
Hold up. This is how they do it.
Yeah. I still hadn't mastered that. Yeah. Over this.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave a review. We'd love to hear your thoughts on today's discussion. Feel free to reach out to us on Instagram at Changing of the Seasons Podcast. That's Changing with a capital C, OTS, all capitals, pod, capital P, or drop a comment below.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. This has been the Changing of the Seasons podcast, and we're your hosts, Maya, Bia, and Mila. Until next time, keep protecting your peace and loving on yourself.